Hello, welcome to another episode of Talking Rangers. Today is Monday, May 20th. We are 2 days away from the Eastern Conference Finals. The New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers, game one at MSG. 4 wins away, I should say, from getting to the Stanley Cup. 8 wins left, halfway through it. The New York Rangers are the lone New York team left in the playoffs, with the New York Knicks getting knocked out yesterday against the Pacers. So it is Rangers town now. The fate of New York City lies in the New York Rangers' hands. This is episode 32. Make sure to like and subscribe. Joe, we have made it through 2 series, 10 games. Rangers are 8-2. A little bit of a scare there against Carolina, but they got through it, and now they need 4 big wins, and we'll be looking at another trip back to the Stanley Cup. What are your thoughts before we get into this one?
Listen, as Jacob Trouba said, never a doubt.
Yep, never a doubt.
I might have posted a tweet saying who's to blame for the collapse of this team, but yeah, that was kind of I assume in the locker room, they saw that and they're like, whoa, we're not collapsing, we're not losing. So, I feel like I kind of had a little bit of a help in them coming back. And I also did have a tweet. I said this on the last live stream that we had after the game, that I was like, should Laviolette be fired if we lose this series? But I mean, it doesn't matter. Captain Kreider came through and put the team on the back in the third period, and team battled through the adversity at the end of that series, and we're exactly where we wanted to be. Beginning of the season, I think for the most part, most of the people were saying, let's get to the conference final. But I think, as the season goes on, as you play better, expectations kind of evolve, they change. So I think now, obviously, I think the expectation should be for all the teams left is to win the cup. But it feels good to be back though in the Eastern Conference Final. After 2 years ago, we get eliminated in 6, and we're right back where we want to be. So it's awesome right now to be a Rangers fan, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and the last 3 trips to the Eastern Conference Finals have all been Florida teams. This time it'll be against the Panthers, obviously the previous 2 against Tampa. So we'll look to, win maybe in 6 this time as opposed to last time. But yeah, we'll start here, just, recapping a little bit of the second round, kind of putting a bow onto that before we move into Florida and what the New York Rangers need to do to win this series. But yeah, I mean, the Rangers obviously swept Washington. They win the first 3 in Carolina, or against Carolina, 2 obviously at home. Then they took the 1 in overtime as well. After the double overtime win, they took 1 in overtime in the first game in Carolina, where they go up 3-0, and they're 7-0 in the playoffs. They're smooth sailing. Everything's going great. Then they come back, tie it in game 4. Obviously, Carolina scores the game winner late game with Brady Shea with about 3 minutes left or so. They win that game, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, you go back home, game 5, you could still win the series in 5. We were never expecting to sweep Carolina, and then they lose game 5, which was easily their worst performance of the playoffs, and arguably their worst performance we've seen this team play in months, not even just the playoffs. It was one of the worst games we've seen this team play in a very long time. And then you're down 3-1 in game 6, and you're thinking to yourself, man, game 7 at the Garden, it's going to happen. But as much as game 7s are great, and people say, oh, they're the 2 best words in sports, they're not the 2 best of words in sports if you're in a game 7 after being up 3-0. So they're able to take care of business in game 6. You could tell that this team was, before the comeback, you could tell that they were pressing a little bit. You could tell that they were kind of feeling the pressure, understanding how historically bad this would be if they blew a 3-0 lead. And let's be honest here, if they blew that 3-0 lead, there is nothing this team could do next year to get this fan base or the NHL to buy in, because they would have to everybody all year next year. And during the playoffs, all you would hear about is, oh, they're going to blow a 3-0 lead. They blew a 3-0 lead. They're going to do it again. And it kind of feels like I'm really confident going into this series. Just the way this team, I think, is going to come out in the first couple games, I think is going to be the team that you saw early in that Carolina series, because I think they were starting to really feel the pressure of, man, this might actually be happening where we blow it. And of course, a couple things go their way. They win that series thanks to Chris Kreider, who might still be picking up hats off his lawn, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
Yeah, definitely something that just, I mean, Rangers fans are obviously the best, and that was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, just what were your overall takeaways, I guess, from that Carolina series, and then your optimism going into this one? Because I think you could start to tell in that series the Rangers are starting to feel the pressure of, man, this might be, we might be a part of something that is not what you want to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of I guess there's kind of like two turning points in the series where it was like the bad and I guess the good, where it kind of got bad where I'd say at the beginning of game 5. I don't think they were too bad in game 4. I thought they played pretty well. They got obviously down early in that game and they battled back. And then you
Yeah, I
give
mean, they had a chance to win it. It was 3-3 in the third. They had a chance.
yeah,
Obviously, they left the power play. Carolina's power play wasn't going to be silent the entire series. So
they give the power play goal, you lose that game. It's like whatever. Like I don't think many people are expecting a sweep, but then you kind of came out completely dead in game 5 at home. A chance to end the series in your building, and they looked like they were sleeping that whole game, even though they have 1-0. I still thought they were basically asleep that whole game. I mean, they didn't play well. They got outplayed. Kind of Igor gave them a great performance to keep them in that game. And when the wheels kind of came off Foley, they kind of just laid down and let the Hurricanes do what they want and just beat them physically, forechecking wise, just puck battles, everything. They were winning. And then at the end of the game, obviously, they won. I believe it was 4-1. Was it 4-1 or 5-1?
in what, game 5? Yeah, it was 4-1.
Game 5, 4-1. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean,
because they had the empty netter, Natchez, I think it was.
yeah. Jeez, dude, my right eye is so red. Oh my god, I have like horrible allergies. Sorry, like you see that? Jeez.
It's not popping up on camera. I don't see
But
it.
anyway, I'm sorry. I was just looking at that. But yeah, no, they were asleep, and that performance was very. As a Rangers fan, I feel like maybe you felt the same way. It was like kind of like a gut punch to the fans, where it's like kind of showing you, okay, well, first the other game was good game, 1-goal game you lost. Now this game was bad, and now not only is that happens, is you lose 2 in a row and you go back to Raleigh, and not a lot of confidence coming out of that game. So they kind of get nervous, but I mean, again, they came out not great again in that game, and we're thinking what? I'd say, I mean, most of the people probably. I mean, they were down what 1-0 after the first period.
Yeah, I mean, even in the first period when they just scored and they go down 1-0 and they were pretty flat the rest of the period, you just didn't have a good feeling.
I think that after the second period is when I kind of felt like, holy shit, like this is definitely going to game 7, which is not a good sign, especially because I said coming off 3 losses in a row at that point, if they did lose that game and you didn't really play well in that game 6 or 5.
Yeah.
But, they probably went in that locker room being, listen, we got to come back. We got to fight back for the very least, to finish this game off playing well if we do go to 7, but then they came out better. And, I'm not saying it helped being down that game, but I think they kind of were able to elevate their desperation levels higher than the Hurricanes. And I feel like once the Hurricanes kind of fell behind, not only on the score sheet, but just like in the game, like momentum wise, the nerves start kicking in for them, and the Rangers' desperation just heightened, and they kind of just took over that game. And I think the Hurricanes just didn't have it at that point, realizing their season was on life support when they got the lead. And just this Ranger team just shows you that when you think they're out of it and you think they're done for it, kind of the common theme is like, no quit in New York. And they came back, they won the game, they won the series, and the confidence level is just building as they go into the conference final against the Panthers. And I don't know if you saw this, but it looks pretty much, I think it's all but confirmed, bearing anything crazy, that Filipino will be back in the lineup for game 1. So that's something cool to look at. But like, well, I guess for you, like, kind of, what were your thoughts and like what we were thinking as that? I guess I kind of really touched on game 5, but like game 6, like what were your thoughts throughout that game and kind of just the series as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, game 6 was, I mean, I thought it was over after the second period, similar to you. Even in the first period, I didn't think they played very well. There was stretches throughout that game where they were forechecking pretty well and they were getting shots, but it wasn't much. They weren't testing Freddie Anderson as much as I would have liked to see them do. I mean, I still think they got outshot in that game like 36-24, something along those lines. So they were, Carolina for the most part was the better team, but I think they came out of the first period. What was like 2-3 shots on goal? They came out of the first period.
First period, yeah, it was like 3
Yeah,
shots.
it was nothing. So I was feeling pretty down. I felt they were going to win that game. I knew they were going to win that game right when Kreider had the second goal on the power play. Once he scored that, and from a Carolina perspective, all of a sudden that building went silent. You're looking up at that jumbotron and you see it's tied, and it kind of happened in the snap of a finger. It's like, wow, Chris Kreider just came out here. We were controlling this game. We're up 3-1, and now all of a sudden we look up, it's 3-3. And when he scores again, what about less than 4 minutes later? And it's 4-3, then it was like, yeah, that's the icing on the cake. And of course, Gaudreau had the empty netter, which was just to completely seal it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good though. My thoughts on the whole series. I mean, the Rangers were the better team for a pretty good chunk of it. That's why they won. I mean, I think Carolina was definitely the better team in Game 5. They were the better team good portions of Game 6 and even in parts of Game 4. But we knew it was going to be a close series. I mean, those 2 overtime games could have easily went in a different direction. So I guess I know some people were maybe a little bummed that it had to go to 6 games, but that's kind of what we expected. We expected that series to go to 6, to go to 7.
The Hurricanes are a good team.
They
were
are
favored to win the Stanley Cup to start the playoffs. So
yeah, and again, those 2 overtime games, if you would have told me the Rangers would split those 2 games, you'd be like, okay, you split the 2 overtime, especially the one on the road where the Rangers let up the late goal. I didn't think they would win that.
Yeah,
overtime.
we both said it. Like we thought that game was over.
Yeah. Carolina had all the momentum, and Panarin, of course, with the tip in and less than 2 minutes in, or just about 2 minutes into the overtime there. So, but I think it's good though that this team faced a little bit of adversity because everything was going perfect. Everything was rolling in their direction. They were winning the overtime games. They were, winning on the road. Everything was going perfect for them. I think it's good that they battled some adversity because the deeper you go into the playoffs, the tougher it's going to get, and you're going to have to learn how to handle adversity. And I think after that first loss, I don't really think they handled it very well. They didn't really know how. And whatever was said in that locker room, like you said in the third period, or maybe they saw your tweet, whatever it was, they found a way to handle adversity. They found a way to come out, rally around each other, or more so rally around Chris Kreider, I guess, because he, with the natural hat trick, of course, and in Gaudreau with the finishing touches. But yeah, I think it's good that they handle a little bit of adversity because I'd rather them have to learn, or I'd rather them have to handle that adversity up 3-0 rather than wait to the conference finals where you sweep Carolina and then all of a sudden now you're losing and you're having a tough time bouncing back in the Eastern Conference Finals, where now it feels like, okay, this team kind of knows how to deal with losing a little bit in the playoffs, and hopefully that sets them up better for these next, ideally, 2 series.
Yeah, I mean,
so we'll see.
I guess like they're kind of like in the rear view mirror now, the Hurricanes, and it's all Florida now.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, like we said, if you told me the Rangers would win in 6 against Carolina, you would take that all. You would take that all day. I thought it was going to go to 7. Glad it didn't, especially under the circumstances. But as long as you win it, they took care of business. They got the job done, clean slate, and they're still 8-2, which is something that is obviously very, very impressive during the postseason, which Carolina is 8-3 up to this point. Their first series, they won in 5 against Tampa. Then they won in 6 against Boston. So we can kind of transition here against Florida. I guess we'll start just, what are some of your overall thoughts on Florida as a team? And then we'll get into kind of how the Rangers match up and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're one of the best teams in the league. President's Trophy, then they snuck in, made the finals the last 2 years. So they have a pretty good track record for most of the guys probably were on those 2 teams each of those years. So again, they have a pretty good track record. Obviously, winning the Eastern Conference last year, they're pretty deep. They have a lot of good forwards on that team that can do a little bit of everything. Their defense, I think, might be their weaker spot of the team. Like, I mean, obviously, like I think Ekblad is a little overrated. He's still a really good defenseman. I think Montour is one-sided, really good offensive defenseman, but I don't think he's great defensively. And then they got a couple other more defensive guys, not a lot of skill to their game, not Montour. I just said him, Kulikov, Mikkola, as we know. But yeah, no, they have a deep team, and they'll grind you down. They're physical. It's gonna be tough for the Rangers. I think obviously, we're obviously biased, but I think that the Rangers will win the series. But at the end of the day, it's gonna come down to probably the same 2 things I said about the last series. execution on special teams, and goaltending. And if you go look at their goalie, he's a great goalie. I mean, I think he's the only goalie in the league that has multiple Vezina trophies at the moment. I think Hellebuck will win a second one this year, but he's the only one currently in the league with 2 Vezina trophies, which is very impressive. He's been a good player for a while in the league, dating back to his days in Columbus. I mean, he was great last year in the postseason. He was good this year. I think in that first series against the Lightning, decent against the Bruins. I don't think he played great, but he was still good enough to get the job done and for them to win. But yeah, I think that could be, maybe a series, like I said, really reliant on the special teams and the goaltending. I think they match up a little bit easier against compared to the Hurricanes. I don't think they have as well as or as good as a forecheck where they kind of just can sustain that pressure on you. I think what is different about them is just more of their physicality forechecking, where the Hurricanes are more, speed and getting to loose pucks. I think the Hurricanes aren't as fast on the forecheck, but can play a little bit more gritty. I don't think they're as good on the penalty kill as the Hurricanes, and I think their power play isn't as good. So that could maybe be helpful for the Rangers, even though I think the Hurricanes' power play is good, but the Rangers just kind of, I don't know if had their number, they were struggling, but I don't think they're going to be able to perform as high of a clip on their penalty kill. But again, special teams is going to be huge. I think the advantage goes to the Rangers with the goaltending and special teams. That's why I picked them to win. But I think it's going to be a different series, like compared to the Hurricane series, but it will be a great one. And I think Rangers in 7.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be it's going to be obviously a really, really good series. And I'm glad you kind of mentioned the goaltending because we can get into that. Bobrovsky's obviously, he'll be the best, the not taking anything away from the Rangers, but if they face Charlie Lindgren and then they faced Freddie Anderson.
He'll probably be the best goalie they faced in this team's run. Like, I mean, if you look at it, we faced.
You think he's better than Ottinger?
No, I don't think he's better than Ottinger, but I'm like,
if they get there, but
yeah. The last 2 runs,
and if Dallas gets there too,
they faced the Smith for like most of that first game, but not really. Majority of it, they faced Domingue. Then they faced Ranta. Then they faced Vasilevsky. So I guess he was probably the best goalie they faced. And then obviously he faced Schmidt and Vitek Vanacek last year. You got Lindgren, who's not the greatest, and then obviously Anderson. So besides Vasilevsky,
he's
going to be the best test that they've had to go up against in goal. So yeah, it should be tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I still trust Igor over Bob by a lot. Bobby. But so far this postseason, he's 8-3-0, 238 saves and 264 shots against, 26 goals allowed, 2.37 goals allowed per game. So definitely better than Freddie and Charlie. Now, you talked about the special teams, which is huge. I think every series, this series, last series, first series, and if they do move on, we'll be even talking about it in the Cup preview as well, is special teams, because that is really what it comes down to with this Rangers team. So far this postseason, they're 31.4% on the power play, and they're 89.5% on the PK. For Florida, they are 22% on the power play, 86.1% on the PK. So their power play has not been very good this postseason. They're actually near the bottom. I think they're 9th or 10th this postseason out of overall. Now, some of that's obviously skewed because they've played more games than some of the other teams, but their power play has not been very, very good so far. And ideally, you get whether that was Carolina struggling or the Rangers PK was just that good or a mix of both. If you get what the Rangers did against Carolina, you really like your chances if they could slow down a Florida power play that has. I mean, they're regular season wise, Florida was 23.5%, which was 8th in the NHL. So they were still top 10. So they're still kind of around that area, but obviously not quite as good as what the Rangers have been so far
obviously
through the postseason.
They have Barkov and Kachuk and Reinhart. So they still have the players. And I think even though their numbers weren't as good as the Hurricanes, I think they have the better players. So at the end of the day, I feel like you kind of just have to look at the team with the better players as far as the power play. But yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously Barkov and guys like that, Kachuk as well. Another big piece of that team. You look at some of their playoff leaders so far. Kachuk leads the team with 14 points. He got 4 goals, 10 assists. Then Barkov with 5 goals, 8 assists, 13 points. Verhaeghe with 6 goals, 5 assists, 11 points. And then Lindell as well. And then Sam Reinhart, who's had 5 goals and 9 points through this postseason so far through 11 games. Reinhardt's going to be huge. They're going to have to slow him down. He's, one of the better goal scorers in the NHL. Is he somebody that you're kind of looking at this team's got to slow down?
I mean, I don't think he really drives play, but I feel like he's some guy you always have to keep an eye on because I feel like he does a good job of getting open and getting into those high danger scoring slots. But I think for the most part, you got to look at the two guys like Barkov and Kachuk because they can distribute and they can create, and you really have to make sure to get on those guys that can do both. Like a guy like Reinhardt, yeah, it can probably kill you, but I think he's not going to kill you if, like I said, Barkov or Kachuk aren't facilitating those plays and making plays. Like this is not like I'm not saying like don't ignore him because he's a great goal scorer, but I think for the biggest part or for the most part is you got to find the guys that make the plays, and that's Barkov and Kachuk. They're two of the best players in the NHL. I mean, I think Barkov actually yesterday was just named the Selke Award winner. So
yeah,
again, very good player both ways on both sides of the ice. And again, like I said, they're great at facilitating him and Kachuk. And Matt Kachuk's like if you told me if you could take one guy and add him to your team in the playoffs, I'd probably take him. Not a goaltender.
So if you had to add somebody to the Rangers, you're saying?
I would take him over anybody. I think that I'd rather have him even over like a guy like McDavid just because of how gritty he plays and how like he can play great while still be worn down. I think if you kind of wear down McDavid, he kind of starts slowing down a little. But as the playoffs go on, I think Kachuk is just some guy you don't want to play against. You don't want to be into the corners with. He's going to rough you up, and he can score, he can pass, he can do everything. And I think that's something in the playoffs that goes a long way. If you can be kind of that two-way player as far as skill and grit, then in the NHL playoffs, I mean, that is the epitome of what you want in the player. So.
Definitely. And somebody else, I think, too, that the Rangers, obviously former Rangers played up against a ton of former Rangers last round. That's Tarasenko. He hasn't gotten off to, I guess, I don't know how much the expectation was in Florida for him. But so far this postseason, he's only had 5 points. So I think he's a guy that you got to make sure doesn't.
Oh my God! Imagine he comes up big in the series. Oh,
I doubt it. I don't think he will. But he's somebody that not just because of the former Ranger, but somebody that has offensive upside. He hasn't really done a whole lot so far during the playoffs. Only 5 points, only 2 goals in 11 games, which is really, really below his standards. So he's a guy that it feels like a breakout could be coming, and you're going to want to make sure that he's contained as well. Really just their top 6 in general. Tarasenko, Barkov, Reinhardt, that first line, and then that second line that features, Verhaeghe, Lundell, and then Kachuk as well.
Verhaeghe is a very sneaky good player. I feel like he's very underrated.
He's had a very good postseason so far.
Scores a lot of big goals too. I think he's like the franchise leader in like overtime goals or game-winning goals or something like that, which is ridiculous because he doesn't play that many postseason games.
Yeah. No, yeah, they're very talented, very talented. I think we kind of knew this would be the matchup for a while. What do you think? What did you say? 7?
Yeah, I think that's just me just kind of putting it out there as just trying to be like safe, I guess, with the prediction. But like, I could see, I think the series is just in the general sense, like whoever wins, I think it's going to go at least 6. I don't see it ending in 4 or 5, regardless who wins. But I think the Rangers are going to win 7. And here's another thing I want to point out is that this series is going to be heavily Ranger fans because there is a shit ton of Ranger fans that live in that Miami area or Sunrise, wherever it is. There'll be a lot of Rangers fans. So if you want to listen to some cheers in that game down there in in Sunrise, when the Rangers score, that stadium is going to be loud. If Igor makes a save, you're going to get the Igor chance. You're going to get the Let's Go Rangers chance. So that's kind of a cool thing where we kind of have a little bit of advantage there, more so than the Carolina Hurricane series where I think there was more fans in Florida. So it's going to be a lot of Rangers fans. And that's also a nice place to vacation. So, if you want to go down for like a weekend, because the game's on Sunday, you want to go down for a weekend in Florida, go to the beach, and then on Sunday, go to the Rangers game.
Yeah. So we mentioned some of the keys here kind of for the Rangers. It's some of the things obviously with the special teams, for Florida, they're going to have to kind of control 5-on-5 play. And they're also going to have to hope that Bobrovsky finds a way to not outplay Igor, but he's got to find a way to be pretty close to what Igor is, and they've got to stay out of the box because we know how lethal the Rangers are on special teams, and they've got to convert, with the power play. Now, something else that the Rangers need to get going with is specifically that third line, which they got a punch or a boost, I guess, today. Not really a punch. Hedel was back.
Yeah.
Hedel, Wenberg, Kakko. They need that line to start scoring. What are your thoughts on Hedel being back? Hopefully he can be that. They need that. They need that line to get going. If that line gets going, that's huge, and Hedel being back is huge.
He's exactly what that line needs. He's a facilitator. He skates with the puck. He can create 5-on-5 offense himself, and he can score. He can put the puck in the net, and he shoots. The other three guys on that line prior, like Cooley, Kakko, and Wenberg, none of them can score really, and for the most part, they never shoot. They never shoot the puck either. And a guy like Hedel, he's just gonna, wander around in the high slot, try to get open, and then when Wenberg and Kakko are done cycling, they'll find him and they'll get some goals. I think they'll score a couple goals. You'll see them score more than I think they scored 2 goals in the postseason so far, but combined those 3 guys. You'll see that third line get more goals this series, especially with a guy like Hedel coming back. And I think that's going to be a massive advantage for the Rangers, where you got 3 scoring lines now. So that's going to be huge. And not only can they score, that line can also play great defense. And they can wear the other team down, especially with their cycling ability. They're a very good cycling line, especially Kakko. I don't think he gets enough credit for how great of a player he is along the boards and defensively. But that's going to be a big advantage if they get Hedel fully going. We don't want him to play a game and then have to sit out one. If he can consistently stay in this lineup, the Rangers are going to be a dangerous team. And you know what? You know what here? We were going to probably get into this a little bit, but if for an X factor for the Rangers, I would say Philip Hedel would be mine.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he's obviously, one game was, it's just good to see him back. There was kind of some speculation as to why he was out. Illness, if it was an actual illness or if it was something with his concussions that obviously have held him out for a very long time. But I think that's a big series in general for the kids. Another big series for the kids. Kakko, Hedel, Laugh.
Do they get a shift together?
That effort from Laugh against a physical team like Florida, and Kakko, of course, against the board is going to be big.
Do they get a shift this series together?
The kid line, just to commemorate the 2022 kid line shift.
Bad.
Imagine if they get one shift and it's better than 2022.
Just going to be an electric shift of cycling, and then pack the Hedel, and Hedel just fires. Oh my god, dude! I'm telling you, that's going to be electric.
No, that wouldn't happen. That would be it would have to happen at home.
I just want. I want a shift. I want New York style shift. I want the kids line. The kids need to be reignited. Reunited, and reignited. I guess.
Does Coach Peter give him one shift?
He's got it, dude. That line would be electric going back out there. Oh, dude, I want that so bad.
I might want that more than I wanted the Rempe goal against Washington.
More than the Rempe goal, yeah.
Maybe. Rempe mania is done.
They could still use him here and there, maybe if someone gets banged up or whatever, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think for now it's just going to be the same 2 lines or the same 2 top blue lines, and then I think they'll just pull back Cooley to play with VC and Gaudreau.
Yeah, they just switch Cooley and Hedel. Yeah. That fourth line too.
Barclay Gaudreau's got.
Yeah. Gaudreau's been very good.
Dude, I think he's got 3 goals in the playoffs. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, because he had the I think he's had the 3 because he had the empty net. Then he had the game 1 goal, and then he had the one in game 4, right?
Did he ever go in game 1? Maybe
I'm talking about not game 1. It was game 3 against Washington, right? Not game 1.
He scored in game 3, and he scored the empty net goal. Or maybe he only has 2 goals. I thought he had 3.
No, yeah, he scored in I think he scored in game 4.
Oh, the deflection. The deflection.
Wasn't it the only one in the second period? It
was the deflection, yes.
Yeah.
He's got 3 goals.
Wasn't it I think that cut it to 3-2 or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's got 3 goals in 10 games.
Barclay Gaudreau, he's been
Hemi VC hasn't scored in the playoffs though.
No. VC hasn't.
Oh no, he did. He scored in game 1. Remember?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
The
only guy who's played pretty consistently, I'm not counting Hedel and Brzezinski, but I guess the only guy who's really played a decent amount that hasn't scored it is just Wenberg.
Yeah, and he's been close.
He had a couple posts, yeah.
How many posts do we get from Wenberg?
This series?
1. One
I think he
post.
rings one off. Like there's gonna be like a game in overtime, and he's gonna be on a breakaway, and he's just not gonna score. He's gonna beat the goalie, but it's not gonna go in. It's gonna hit the post.
You're gonna beat Bob.
He's gonna beat Bobby upstairs.
Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby versus Igor.
Yeah.
So this is it. Rangers for the chance to go to the Cup.
Who would you say is your X factor for the Rangers?
For the Rangers this series?
Yeah.
Hedl.
Well, I said Hedl. You can't say Hedl.
No, I know. I wasn't saying Hedl. I'm just saying like Hedl. I'm just kidding. My X factor. Give me Kakko.
Kakko. You think Kakko buries one? Buries a big overtime goal, maybe?
Gosh. What would be his reaction if he buries a Game 7 overtime goal?
Dude, I was talking to some guy on the bench yesterday in my men's league game. I was like, his reactions are so like, I don't like. It's not saying he doesn't care, but he's so monotone with everything. I don't think
he's surprised. I don't think he believes in himself. Like, when he goes in, I don't think he trusts his ability. When it goes in, he's like shocked.
Make Kakko confident again in 2024.
Hey, Game 7 goal is not a better way to get your confidence up.
What if he scores Game 1 overtime goal in this series and just lights up the Panthers? Goes like beast mode.
What, like overtime goal in Game 1, then bounces back, has like another goal. He
drops like a hat trick in Game 2.
Natural hat trick in Game 2.
Natural hat trick, yeah.
And then there's hats on Kakko's lawn.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that he probably doesn't have a house. He seems like a lot of those foreigners, I think, probably just buy like apartments.
Yeah, because they go back.
Especially the younger kids, like that probably don't have like the money yet to buy. But yeah, if I don't know why I'm talking about this, but like I feel like the younger guys that just signed those contracts, especially not from America, shorter term contracts, obviously they don't.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are probably in apartments.
Stability wise, they're not going to buy a house if they, until they sign a long term contract. I don't know why we're talking about this, but I'm sorry. But
well, because of the hats on his lawn.
There will be hats wherever he lives. Let's just say that.
So if he lives in an apartment, will there be hats like outside of his door?
There'll be maybe outside the apartment building.
Yeah.
And then like we'll have a sign and be like, I just arrived to Kakko's apartment door. Wow, it's a nice apartment.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say because the job's not finished yet.
Job's not done.
See, I'd say Kakko. Physicality against Florida.
Cycling.
I think him against the board's going to be big. So I'm going to go Kakko as my X factor. I could say Vinny too, but that's too obvious. I feel like Vinny's always the X factor. Vinny's similar to what Josh Hart was to the Knicks. So that's a boring X factor because that's an obvious one. But I always feel like Vinny, with what he brings in all phases, I do think that line though defensively, it's got to be big.
Yeah,
they were at times in that Carolina series was
the first line or second line.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I feel
like times during Carolina, I thought they were a little. We talked about them post game, but they
got boxed in a couple times.
Yeah. So,
but they have the first two games. You have the change, so you can get matchups you want.
Yep, exactly, and fresh start. It's a fresh start. I'm feeling confident about this series. They don't have the 3-0 in the back of their mind. It's a fresh series. It's a fresh start. The pressure's still on, but the pressure's off from the standpoint of blowing a 3-0.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a Rangers team that's going to come out and play really, really well in Game 1. I'll go 5-2 victory in Game 1.
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm
feeling confident about Game 1. I think with the way we've seen this team play in the last 3 games, even with the win in Game 6, we know they didn't play very well in that game. I think this team's going to play really well in Game 1 just because of it's a new series, fresh slate. They got the 3-0 stuff out of there. They've got a couple days off. Hopefully Fox another guy too. Hopefully he's healthier. He's clearly banged up. Defensively, he's just big this series in general.
He hasn't been able to facilitate though.
I need Trouba too.
Yeah, Trouba's got to knock out Sam Bennett.
We just need Trouba to play defense,
not get walked around.
Trouba and Miller.
Do you think they play with? I didn't see the practice lines. I just see that Hedl was.
I think they were rolling with Trouba and Miller.
Yeah, Trouba and Miller again. Okay.
Yeah, it was the normal.
That's fine.
Anyway, is it time for goal scorer picks?
Yeah, I'm 5-1 so far.
By the way, I'll say You said Rangers in 7. I'll probably go also. I said Rangers in 7 against Carolina. Went 6. I'll go Rangers in 7 in this series. We've been talking about this series for months. I feel like for
Yeah, I
months.
feel like when we played them on like that ESPN where it was like on a Saturday, they were like, "Oh, this could
Yeah,
be
when they
preview
were
of the
wearing
conference
those their
final."
alternate jerseys.
Yeah, and
The
Trey did
Panarin.
like that move where he like pulled out his
Yeah,
backhand in the shootout.
Panarin had a good game that night, right? I
Yeah, I
did
think he
too.
had a goal. I
He
think
had
he had a
he had
goal
a
to tie
shootout
or
goal
something.
too.
Yeah,
I think he scored there too. Yeah. So yeah, the Saturday night game. I remember that. Well, Carolina so far, like I said, Carolina to get to
Florida,
this point, they beat Tampa in 5, then they beat
Florida,
Boston in 6. They were
Florida.
or not. Yeah, sorry. What did I say?
You said Carolina. Come on,
Carolina.
bro.
Sorry, Florida.
It's a professional
But they were
podcast.
2-0-1 against the Rangers in the regular season. That one overtime loss coming, of course, in shootout, which was their last meeting. Rangers are 1-2 this year against Florida. So hopefully we get a. Ideally, the series ends in like 5, maybe.
I think that's wishful thinking, though. I think
It's
this is gonna
very
be a
wishful
long
thinking.
series. It's gonna be.
It's gonna be tough.
You know what? I'll say
Do
this
the
about the
Rangers
series.
win both at home again?
No, I don't think. I think it's gonna
Do
be
you think they're gonna split?
It's gonna be bang bang bang. It's gonna go back
Bang,
and forth. I think the
back
whole
and forth.
time. Yeah, like maybe the
I
Rangers win
thought
the
the
first
same thing
one.
about Carolina, but we'll see.
I think the Rangers will win the first one. Then the Hurricane, Florida maybe wins the next 2. Then the Rangers win the next 2, and then Florida forces a game 7, something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very back and forth. It's not going to be a one-way sided series. I don't think so.
No, not at all. Especially with both teams having a good amount of rest.
Yeah, they've
And
been
not
playing.
really. I mean, what Carolina or Florida?
Carolina's
Jeez,
played.
you're
Florida's played one more game than us, and we've like
yeah.
11 and 10
That's
games,
what
so
I'm
we haven't
just
played a
about
lot
to
of
say.
games. Both the teams, and they both of them for the most part have played well in each of the series. So
Yeah. So obviously, I think it's very easy, very, very predicted series. The two best teams in the East facing off.
yeah.
All right, goal scorer picks. Let's
All right, well,
begin. Who do you want to start?
you haven't got one right since game 1 of the Washington series.
Yes,
I had a little bit of a, what did I
you
get?
had
Like the
Kreider
first
in
6
game.
games or first? I think I got like the
You had
first 4
Kreider.
games. Huh? I did have Kreider. I had Kreider,
You're on a
right?
1-game win streak.
I had the first. I think you got the first game. I didn't get anybody in the first game, but then I had 4 in a row. I think.
You're
And
talking about
then
the Washington series, right?
yeah, you got the first game. You had
Yeah.
the second goal of the whole postseason. You had Panarin, and then you haven't had anybody since. So it's 5-1 me.
I went 0-6 against Carolina.
I'll
Or
let you
in
go.
Carolina, not talking about. I wasn't facing Carolina.
You're,
I
you're not
wasn't.
you haven't got one in the last 9 games, so maybe we get a little bit of a streak going.
All right, you want me to go first?
Yeah, why
Or are
not?
we gonna play like golf and whoever's winning the hole is?
No, we don't
You
we don't need
technically won the
honors.
last game, so technically you should
You
tee
can
off
go
first.
first. I'll
All right.
you need it more than I do.
First game. God, I hate this. I would go Kreider, but I feel like he's not gonna. I feel like he's not
You
gonna
use the
score.
ball as gold.
Yeah, like he's just not gonna score in game 1.
All right.
I'll go Kreider.
Okay. I was gonna go Kreider if you didn't go Kreider just to see like if he scored after you say he wasn't gonna score. That would have been funny.
I went Kreider game 1 last for a series and it didn't work. So
I am going with the man, the myth, the legend. Feel the thrill.
I'll write it down.
Phil Heedle.
Feel the thrill.
Yeah, he's burying one.
All right, Heedle. Game 2.
Hey, wait.
Rangers up.
If Heedle doesn't play for some reason, I'll go to Lafreniere.
All right. Game 2. Rangers hopefully 1-0. I will go Mika.
Little Mika Magic.
I'm going with the safe picks. Just going Kreider, Mika back to back. One of them's got to score in the first 2 games. Who that is, I don't know. Hopefully it's Kreider then Mika.
Okay. Game 2, I will go with Alexis Lafreniere.
All right. Game 3 on the road. Now, last series I took Kako in game 3. You know, you could just see a Capo Kako down 2-0, scoring a goal. It's a perfect Capo Kako goal scoring spot. So I will say that finally happens. I'll go Kako in game 3.
Because Kako is your X factor, so
Yeah.
you got to ride him. You got to ride Capo Kako.
Capo Kako just screams road playoff goal scorer.
All right, I will counter that or combat that with.
I got him shaking in his boots right now.
I will go Chris Kreider.
All right. Go Kreider. That's probably a smart pick. I could see Kreider scoring game 3. All right. Game 4. Rangers up 3-0 to close out the series. Panarin.
The Breadman.
I'll be honest. I probably should have took Panarin in game 2. I feel like waiting until game 4 to pick Panarin's probably not smart. He's I don't know.
I'll take Trocheck.
Trocheck. Vinny.
Mm-hmm.
Vinny T. The Italian stallion.
Vincenzo.
Game 5. Am I predicting a huge series from Kreider here? I'm gonna go Kreider in game 5.
Okay. I will go with Alexi Lafreniere again.
All right, going back to Laf. All right, game 6. I feel like this is now the time where I've got to take.
You don't have a Bubbs guess in here yet.
What do you say?
You don't have like a Bubbs guess.
No, I don't. I'm not going to have one. What was my Bubbs last series? It was probably Roslovic. Yeah, it was Roslovic. Game 2, Roslovic. That was stupid.
Yeah.
Game 6. I would go Laf, but we're gonna go Laf in game 6.
All right, I'll go Panarin.
All right, game 7. What did we say? Didn't we say the script is Hedl scores in game 7 on the kid line, right?
Well, that was just like in the general. I didn't say it had to be game 7. I just said it's going to happen in the series.
True. I would go Hedl. He's not going to score in game 7. That's just not going to happen. Could go back with a safe pick and go Mika. Gosh, I'm relying heavily on this first line then, if I do that. You know what? We're going to go Vinny.
All right, I'll take Kreider again.
Kreider. Going for some late series magic from Kreider again?
Yeah.
All right, so I got Kreider, Mika, Kakko, Panarin, Kreider, Laf, Vinny. And then you've got what? Hedl, Laf, Kreider, Vinny, Laf, Panarin, Kreider.
Yeah.
So we each have Kreider twice. So we are buying stock in Kreider potentially having another hat trick.
It's a Chris Kreider show.
We are buying the Kreider stock. We picked them 4 times combined.
Hopefully he doesn't come out and get 0 goals.
Kreider better score, but Kreider better score in at least 1 of 4 games. I mean,
we have what 4? You have him twice
in game 1 and in game 4. You've got him in. No, I've got him in game 1 and game 5. You've got him in game 3 and game 6.
I thought
game 7.
Yeah, game 7 and game 3.
Yeah. I've got him game 1 and game 6. No, game 5. Yeah. I need Kreider to have a hot start. I need him to continue that momentum. All right. Goal scoring picks are in the books. I'm down. How many goals am I down?
4.
4. I like how I picked this round. I like it.
Yeah, I think.
I balanced it.
Let's be honest here. Some of my picks were kind of like I picked.
Yeah, Hedl is not going to hit. Hedl's not going to land.
Okay, nothing.
Hedl, Laf, neither are going to land.
I didn't say this series. I said
Kreider
last series.
game 3.
I picked Trouba a game. Obviously, he didn't score. I picked
VZ.
He didn't score. So I was kind of going a little Bubbs up there. There were a couple Bubbsy picks.
Yeah, but you know what? It can never hurt to take. I feel like Gaudreau is a perfect pick potentially because of the empty netter. Him or VZ, they feasted on those. I feel like VZ. I think leads the team empty net goals.
The next series. How about this? If a defenseman or a fourth liner scores, it counts as 2 points.
We'll see. We'd have to break that down.
We'd have to discuss goal scoring in the rule
we'd
book.
Have to take that one to the upper levels.
We have to go to Toronto for that one.
Yeah. That would be a review. We'd have to go review that. This has got to be the series where I turn this around. This has got to be it. I really have to, because let's just say you don't hit on any of your picks, and I hit on 2 of mine. Then I'm down 2. And if they win and move on to the cup, then I've got 7 games to make up 2 goals. It's possible. I feel like I have to hit 3 this series, actually.
You know what's funny?
Because I have to be ready for you to hit at least 1.
I guarantee you the ones that you hit, like watch like Kreider scores the first goal of the game, and then Hito comes right back and scores.
Nothing I could do about it.
Yeah. I hope you get one this series. You're in a little bit of you were on a heater.
Little bit. I haven't gotten one in 9 games.
You were on a heater at the end of the season with those Panarin picks. And then you got the first game following up the Panarin. Maybe you should just kept riding Panarin.
But I mean, yeah, I could pick Panarin every single game and he would score at least 1 goal.
Yeah, you'd probably get, if you want to be safe and you don't think I'm getting any, you could have done that.
Yeah, I could have. I thought about doing that last series. I could have picked Panarin every single game.
Didn't Trocheck score in the first 5 games?
Yeah, I got Trocheck in game 7.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I don't know. Every time I pick Vinny, it never hits. So I took Trocheck in game 7 last series.
He scored in game 6. Didn't score in game 7 though.
Well, yeah, but he would have.
He would have. That is true.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
I guess technically, if Hito doesn't play, like I said,
Hito's playing. There's no way Hito's back practicing.
Yeah,
he's definitely gonna play.
And Filipino we trust. Hope he scores.
I wish this game was tomorrow.
This
is too long of a wait. We still got a whole another day and a half.
Tomorrow's calm before the storm.
No, we still got 48 hours. A little over 40. We still got
nice though. Now, like all the New York media, like the fan and everything, it's all going to be Rangers. And don't get me wrong, like I like the Knicks, and I don't have a problem with them talking about the Knicks, but it's nice.
Well, they're talking. It's a lot of Knicks talk today because it's the day after
and everything. But after today, I assume it's going to be all Ranger talk, and that's good.
Yeah, well, starting Wednesday, it'll officially be all Rangers talk.
Dude, I'm excited. Nervous.
Today and tomorrow still might be more Knicks kind of hangover stuff, and then once Wednesday comes and it's game 1 at the Garden, it'll be all Rangers. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing against the Knicks, but I wanted this series to be Rangers Town because I'm not a Knicks fan. So, and basketball is more popular than hockey. I wanted this to be Rangers Town, all the city, all around the Rangers. Remember 2022? Everybody rallied around the Rangers.
Look, I got
now we've got another chance.
I got this Rangers Zamboni.
Oh my God.
Let's go Rangers.
They should hand that out instead of the cup.
Or what about this? Give him a helmet. Or this. look how dusty that is.
You want to see some of mine?
What about what about this? My first home run ball.
This. Ooh, nice.
You want to know? You want to know who I give my first home run to?
Who?
Guess who I gave up, or who did I give? I gave someone's first home run. Like I was pitching, they hit their first home run. Guess who it was? Yeah.
Ready?
Same game. Is that Truba?
No. Panarin.
Oh, that's Panarin. Look, he looks like Truba.
Panarin? Guess who? Lundqvist.
Yes, sir. What about this? What's a better chant? The Henrik chant or the Igor?
Dude, these big heads, these are awesome. I got so many of them. I got, ready, look. Dr. J.
Dr. J.
Troy Serving. I got a Namath, I got Glaber, and I got KD.
Dude, some guy at my work, want to hear this?
KD.
Some guy at my work said that his mom got hit on by Joe Namath. I don't know if I believe him.
How old is his mom?
I don't know.
His mom has got to be like 70 years old.
No, he said his mom.
She was like alive in like 20s.
I guess Namath was just going for the young guns, I guess.
Oh, like this was recent. This wasn't during his.
I don't know. He was probably fucking lying.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
And then we have this girl that I worked with too. She worked for the Rangers like event staff. She said so. Maybe we get like a Kreider autograph or something.
Maybe we get him on the show.
I'll say, hey, can you get Kreider on Talking Rangers?
All right, closing thoughts before this really gets off topic.
Rangers in 7. Hito Legacy Series. Igor Shesterkin.
I like the sounds of that. As I stare at my Henrik Lundqvist fathead,
Well, you
we're
didn't
going to
answer
win
my
this
question.
one for him.
You didn't answer my question. What was it? What's a better chant, Henrik or Igor?
Better chant?
Yeah.
I'd still say it was probably Henrik.
Henrik.
Yeah.
Henrik.
I would still say it was just because number one, he's my favorite Ranger. Number two, it's just much longer. What he is. My favorite Ranger.
That's fine.
You don't believe me? You don't believe me?
No.
Let me shift the camera.
No. It's nothing. I don't believe you. I'm just
look.
Oh. Look at him just staring at you.
Yeah. He's always my setup. Nobody's stopped. Nobody's getting through here.
And you got his goalie helmet right behind you.
He's to my right, not right behind me, but
no, I'm saying you got that goalie helmet right behind you.
Oh yeah, that's mine actually.
Is that what you wear in the
my
street
helmet
hockey?
I designed, yeah.
Is that the one you wear during street hockey?
Yep. Pretty much. The exact design.
All right, Bubbs. What do you got? Final takeaways. Final statement about the series. I gave you mine. Let's hear yours.
My final statement is 4 games away from the cup. Find a way to win 4 games. Rangers in 7. Hedel Legacy Series, possibly. Kreider Legacy Series for my goal scoring picks. Be more physical. Kreider outplay Bobby. Or Igor outplay Bobby. Igor outplay Bobby.
There we go. Coach Peters got the boys.
Convert on the power play. Do enough on the penalty kill. Their power play hasn't been as good as it was in the regular season. So good on the PK like you were against Carolina. Try not to go into overtime at all. And
I agree.
Yeah, win some games. And go to the cup.
Number 24.
It's crazy. This series potentially ends in June. May has flown by. Here we are.
Time flies when you're having fun. Let's go Rangers.
Time flies when you're winning. Winners win, losers lose. A W's a W.
I could have said that.
This is it. All right. We will see you after the game, after game 1. Talk to you then.